8561046. In this video, I'm going to talk about some submateries. So let's get started.
Hello everybody, in this video we're gonna explain the English chapter, which is the passive. So first of all, I'm gonna introduce our group member from group 3. So we got Raden Dutama Baliano, Imade Dirga Diguna, myself Sate Wirapati, Ida Ayutaria Mahadewi, and Dewa Agung Nyoman Adipurwa M. So in this video, I will explain the first subchapters, which is active sentences and passive sentences. Let's go through it. Gonna turn on the PowerPoint laser. So in this slide, I got some example. The sentence example, we got the active one. Rosie rode the motorcycle, and the passive is the motorcycle was ridden by Rosie. These two sentences have the same meaning. I got an illustration from Google. I made it. For example, this is Rosie. Rosie is the one that rode the motorcycle, and the second sentence, the passive one, the motorcycle is the thing that was written by Rosie. So they got the same meaning. Here's another example. I got this is the active, probable wore the mask, and the passive is the mask was worn by probable. The object in an active sentence becomes the subject in a passive sentence, and the subject in passive sentence is the object of by in the by phrase in a passive sentence. So I'm gonna explain another subchapter again. This is the form of the passive. Let's go through it. This is the form be plus past participle, which is past participle is verb 3. So I'll get 3 example. Cheese is made by milk. Amir was scammed by the scammer. The Mars will be colonialized by humans. So this is the B. In A is, and in B is was, and in C is will be. After we write B, we must write the past participle. This is verb 3. Verb 3 of make is made. Verb 3 of scam is scammed, and verb 3 of colonialize is colonialized with ed. So this is be plus participle. It can be in any of its forms, like is, are, was, were, has been, have been, will be, and etc. This is it. I got some to make it clear. The simple present active make cheese. The passive cheese is made by milk. So it's only the object and subject is got changed, and they include be and the past participle. The verb 1 is become verb 3. In simple past, the scammer scam Amir. The subject and object got changed, Amir, and plus be, and the verb 2 in simple past is become verb 3, past participle, so it become Amir was scammed by the scammer. In present perfect, January has eaten a sushi before. So to be from active to become passive is the subject and object got changed, has been, and include be. After be is include. After be we put the verb 3. it's not changing because present perfect is also used for 3 too. So it's become sushi has been eaten by January before. And the future is humans will colonialize the Mars. And subject and object it got changed. And don't forget the main form of passive is using be, and the verb is changed into verb 3. The Mars will be colonialized with ed by humans. The Mars will be colonialized by humans. So that's all from my explanation side. The another sub chapter is will be explained by my friends. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Durga, student ID 036, and I will explain about transitive and intransitive verbs. So here we go. Okay, here we go. Transitive and intransitive verbs. Transitive verbs. A transitive verb is a verb that is followed by an object. An object is a noun or a pronoun. For the example, Bob mailed the letter. Mr. Lee signed a check. A cat killed the bird. Bob, Mr. Lee, and a cat is the subject. Mailed, signed, and killed is the verb. The letter, the check, and the bird is the object. While intransitive verbs is a verb that is not followed by an object. For the example, an accident happened. Kate came to our house. I slept well last night. An accident, Kate and I is subject. Happened, came, and slept is verb. Well, to our house and well last night is the adverb. Adverb usually follow the verb in intransitive verbs. Okay, well, common intransitive verbs used like agree, die, happen, rise, stand, appear, exist, laughed, seem, sit, stay, arrive, fall, sit, talk, live, become, flow, occur, sleep, wait, come, go, rain, sneeze, walk, etc. Okay. Only transitive verbs can be used in the passive. For example, Bob mailed the letter. The passive verb is the letter was mailed by Bob, while an intransitive verb is not used in the passive. For the example, the active is an accident happened. The passive is not possible. The passive is not like an accident was happened because we can use an accident happened. That is enough. And there are some verbs that have both transitive and intransitive uses. For example, study. The word study. In transitive, we use like students studied books. Books is the object that follow the verbs. While in intransitive, we use like students study. There is not any object that follow the verbs. Okay, the next one, using the by phrase. The by phrase is used in passive sentences when it is important to know who performs an action. This sweater was made by my aunt. My aunt is important information in this case. Well, usually there is no by phrase in a passive sentence. The passive is used when it is not known or not important to know exactly who performed an action. For example, my sweater was made in Korea. Spanish is spoken in Colombia. The house was built in 1940. Rice is grown in many countries. For example, in this sentence, this one, the exact person or people who made the sweater is not known and it is not important to know it, so there is no by phrase in a passive sentence. Same with C, D, and E sentences. Usually the active is used when the speaker knows who performed the action. For example, My aunt is very skillful. She made this sweater. And the next example, I like your sweaters. Thanks. The sweater was made by my aunt, and that sweater was made by my mother. In F sentences, where the focus of attention is on my aunt, and in G sentence, the speaker used the passive with a by phrase because he wants to focus attention on the subjects of the sentences. The focus of attention is on the two sweaters. The by phrase add important information, that is, my aunt and my mother. Okay, next one, the passive form of the present progressive and past progressive. Let's start with passive form of the present progressive. The form is am or is or are plus being plus past participle. For example, the active form sentence is the secretary is copying some letters, and the passive form will become some letters are being copied by the secretary. Another example, the active form is someone is building a new hospital. The passive form is a new hospital is being built. Okay, let's move on to passive form of the past progressive. The form is was or were plus being plus past participle. For the example, the active form is the secretary was copying some letters. The passive form would be some letters were being copied by the secretary. And another example, the active form is someone was building a new hospital. The passive form would be a new hospital was being built. Okay, passive modal auxiliaries. Modal auxiliaries are often used in the passive, and the form is modal plus be plus past participle. Here we can see in the slide active modal auxiliaries that use like will, can, should, ought to, must, has to, might, could. It will be, can be, should be, ought to be, must be, has to be, might be, could be. For example, Bob will mail it, and the passive form would be it will be mailed by Bob. The active form is Bob can mail it. The passive form is it can be mailed by Bob. Bob should mail it. The passive form is it should be mailed by Bob. Bob ought to mail it. The passive form would be it ought to be mailed by Bob. Bob must mail it. The passive form would be it must be mailed by Bob. Bob has to mail it. The passive form is it has to be mailed by Bob. Bob might mail it. The passive form is it might be mailed by Bob. Bob might mail it. The passive form is it might be mailed by Bob. Bob could mail it. The passive form would be it could be mailed by Bob. Okay, that's it. Those are the subtopics about transitive and intransitive verbs. Thank you for your attention, and we will go to the next slide, and my friends will explain the another topics. Thank you.
Oh, hi there. I'm Agung, student ID number 096, and in this session, we are going to deep dive of passive voice. So, here we go. Stative, passive. What is stative passive? A kind of passive voice that can be changed into active. In easy way, stative passive is a kind of passive sentence without by. For example, I have two passive voice. Paul is young. Paul is married. From this sentence, we know that young is adjective. It describes Paul. Married is past participle. It is used as an adjective to describe Paul, but often the past participle is this expression are followed by particular preposition plus an object. For example, Paul is married to Susan, not using by, or Paul was excited about the game. not using by. And then we have participle adjective, at versus ing. The past participle at and the present participle ing can be used as adjective. In a sentence, the past participle describes how a person feels. I'm interested in Indian art. Who is feel interested? I. So we cannot use present. I'm interested in Indian art. What I do? I interesting? No, I feel interesting. That's a correct. In this sentence, the present participle describes the cause of the feeling, the cause of the interest. That is Indian art. Next, we can see in C sentence the surprise describe how Kate feel. The past participle carries a passive meaning. Kate was surprised by the news. But in this sentence, the news was the cause of surprise. This is the difference of past participle and present participle used as adjective. Past participle describe what happened with subject, while present participle describe what the subject do or what is caused by the subject. Okay? The next is how to use get plus adjective or past participle. In get plus adjective, get can followed by an adjective. Get give the idea of change, the idea of becoming, beginning to be or growing to be. In a sentence, I'm getting hungry have a similar meaning with I was not hungry before, but now I'm beginning to be hungry. Same like in B sentence. Eric wasn't nervous before the job interview, but now Eric beginning to be nervous. Okay? Now get with past participle. Sometimes get is followed by a past participle. The past participle after get is like an adjective. It describes the subject of sentence. In a sentence, I'm getting tired. Let's go working. If in this sentence we don't use get, this sentence will not be a passive. Get used like a to be that have the past participle describe what the subject feel. And there's no different about in this sentence. Congratulations! So that we have broken it down. And that's all for me. The next lesson will break down by my friends. And I think this is the last session with me in this year. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year! So see you next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Raden Dwitama Baliano, student ID number 001. In this section, I am going to explain about the next subtopic, which is the using word get and used to or accustomed to in passive sentence. So, check it out. Alright, firstly, I am going to explain about the passive with word get. As we know, the passive sentence is the opposite of the active sentence, where the subject is receives the action of the verb. In the get passive, the verb get replaces the word be in the formula of passive tense. The get passive has two structures. The first is get plus adjective and the second is get plus past participle. For both structures, the verb tense of get changes based on whether you are talking about the present, past, or future. Get plus adjective. Get can be followed by an adjective. Get gives the idea of change, the idea of becoming, beginning to be, or growing to be. Here's an example. What time are we meeting for lunch? I am getting hungry. I am getting hungry. It's explained that the person is before this was not hungry, but now him is beginning to hungry. Okay. The second example here, I stopped working because I got sleepy. The word sleepy is explained why the person here is stop working. Before this condition, the person is not sleepy yet, but now he becomes sleepy. Notice here, the word get is changed, become getting, according to the kind of tense are used here. Get plus past participle. Get can also be followed by the past participle, the form of a verb that usually ends in ed or end. The verb get expresses action, so for this structure, we use it with action verb. Action verbs express physical or mental action. They include such verbs as break, eat, choose, and marry. For example, his brother got married last year. The word married is a past participle of married. My favorite cup got broken. The broken also is past participles of broke, of break. Sorry. So here the word get also be changed according to the kind of tense is used. Here's list of words that use get plus adjective and plus past participle. Next, I am going to explain about the passive with used to or accustomed to. Used to is used to explain something is usual or normal or familiar or not strange. For example, I am used to living in a big city. He is not used to living in a big city. Just like used to, accustomed to is have same meaning as used to. For example, I am accustomed to living in a big city. Okay. He is not accustomed to living in a big city. Just the same. Next, I am going to explain word get used to or accustomed to. The difference between used to and get used to or accustomed to is the get used to is used to explain something is beginning to seem usual or normal. So the condition is beginning to starting normal or familiar. For example, I am getting used to living in a big city. He is not getting used in living he is not getting used to living in a big city. Or using accustomed to. I am getting accustomed to living in a big city. He is not getting accustomed to living in a big city. That's it. Thank you for your attention. Well, that's it. It's not very complicated. If you already understand the passive tense sentence in Bahasa, it's easier to you to understand the passive sentence in English. For the next topic, it will be continued by my friends Dayu, and that's it. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy and have a nice day.
Hi guys, welcome back. It's me, Ida Putri Dewi, NIM 2008561081. So today I will explain about the passive part used to, and supposed to. So enjoy the video. Let's go.
Used to versus used to and be supposed to. First, I will explain about used to versus be used to. Used to expresses the habitual past. it is followed by the simple form of a verb. For the formula, subject plus used to plus simple present. For the example, I used to live in Chicago, but now I live in Tokyo. When I was a child, I used to play games with my friends in the big field near my house after school every day. People used to believe the world was flat. I used to take a bus to school, but now my father gives me a ride. Next, be used to. Be used to is followed by the ing form of a verb or a gerund. For the formula, subject plus be used to plus verb ing. For the example, I am used to living in the big city. I am used to sitting at this desk. I sit here every day. Rian is used to smoking every time. Don't worry, Randy is used to driving for long hours. He has worked as a taxi driver for years. Next, we talk about be supposed to. Be supposed to is used to talk about an activity or event that is expected to occur. For the example, Mike is supposed to call me tomorrow. For the idea, I expect Mike to call me tomorrow. We are supposed to write a composition. For the idea, the teacher expects us to write a composition. Alice was supposed to be home at 10, but she didn't get until midnight. For the idea, someone expected Alice to be home at 10. So that's all about used to versus be used to and be supposed to. Thank you for watching our video. See you next time and goodbye.